Short with Crazy Imagination Travel, and today I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to use Cruise Pro. Okay, so somebody's called you up and they want to take a cruise, and unfortunately they don't want to take a Disney cruise, so we're going to still be able to help them out. On Agent Universe, there's several different things that we can do on here. Over here on the quick links section, that's where you're going to want to look. The biggest two things that we're going to use are right here. One's called Cruise Pro, the other is Stream. Stream is where you can book any hotel in the United States pretty much, like including Holiday Inns, Hampton Inns. It's a great opportunity to just provide more service for our clients, especially staying for a pre-cruise stay or post-cruise stay. Okay, but today we're going to really focus on Cruise Pro. So the first thing you're going to do after you log in to Agent Universe is click on Cruise Pro. And it's going to bring you up to this next page. This is where you're going to narrow down the choices, because if you're looking at every cruise line out there and every departure point, it's just going to be too many different things to look at. So the best thing to do is really to qualify your client, and it's best to do this over the phone if possible. If not, through email is great too, but I've just found throughout the years that it's just best if I talk to my client, because it saves me a lot of time in the long run of quoting things all over the place. I do not want to have to quote from cruises leaving out of Florida, out of Galveston, out of Los Angeles. Let's narrow it down and keep it simple for ourselves and for our client. So today, just for example's sake, I'm going to say that a client has called me and they want to sail to the Caribbean, and they want to go in the summer, but they're really not sure on their dates. But once I talk to them, they really let me know, okay, June is probably going to be better than July. So I'm going to put in a range of dates right here. I'm going to, cruises don't generally leave on a Wednesday, so let's go ahead and hit Friday the 4th, and I'm going to do it all the way leaving on the 25th. Now these are the departure dates. So it's going to show me any cruise going to the Caribbean for that during those times. Now, if I click right here, search now, let's see what happens here. I am going to get 159 different options. That's not going to work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and back this baby up. I am going to narrow it down further. Now, I know that my client wants to do a 7-night cruise, so I'm going to click that. That just narrowed us down. And after talking to them, I know that they want to be able to drive, and they live in Oklahoma. So we are going to look at the ports of Galveston. And then I'm going to hit right down here. It says hit Control key to select multiple ports. They also express interest in New Orleans. So I'm going to click New Orleans right here. Okay, so let's see. We were at 159. Let's search now and see how many we have. Okay, now we're down to 13. That is so much better. I can manage 13. So I'm going to I would spend some time looking at the 13 options that we have here. I do not want to quote all 13 of these options. So honestly, I would have liked for my client to give me a more specific date, but since they didn't, I'm just going to pick one for them, and I'm just going to go off cost. So these are going to be my lead-in rates right here. Remember, that does not include your taxes and fees. This is just kind of a starting point. So I noticed the Carnival Dream out of New Orleans, that seems to be a good price. Or actually, this one's better. So let's click that. And then I noticed that the Carnival Freedom, but I don't really like that ship. So I'm not going to quote that one for them. I don't think it would meet their needs. But the Breeze is really nice, and so I think it would be worth them spending the money on that. So I'm going to also do the June 5th for that one, so we can compare apples to apples. And then June 5th on the Liberty. So I think those are the 3 that I'm going to quote for my client. One of the things you can do after selecting those is click right here where it says Compare Selections. When I do that, I can see a side-by-side comparison of the 3 that I have chosen for them. I can even up here hit Email, and it will email this. I usually email it to myself, clean it up, and then forward it on to my client, because I want to make sure it looks pretty. That way, if I had a client that had no clue which direction they wanted to go, this is a great way to kind of get them to narrow it down. Other than that, this is not what I send for a quote, because look at this, does not give them specifics on prices. Those are just those lead-ins. So I'm going to go back. And I'm going to show you what I do when I'm preparing a quote for a client. So we determined like this June 5th Royal Caribbean one seemed like a good option. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to unclick that. I'm going to just hit book. Not that I'm really booking it, I'm just quoting it, but this is going to get me to where I want to go. This right here, if I click there, it tells me all about the ship. If I click here, it's going to tell me what the itinerary is. I'm going to cut and paste that and pretty it up for my quote. And then I'm going to go in here and enter the passengers. We have 2 people coming. And then it says city of residence. I just default to Abilene, Texas until I'm ready to actually for real book them. Okay, now this is a page that confuses a lot of people because it's the different rates, the fare codes, and we just can't know what every fare code is. But if you click on it, it's going to tell you about it. It's going to give you the details. And Royal Caribbean's is easy because the best rate is going to be your cheapest rate. So I'm just going to click that. Now, Carnival, Norwegian, some of the other ones, it might not be quite as simple as that, but just click several to compare and you'll quickly be able to see which one's the least expensive. I'm going to go ahead and just click this one as well to show you how it pulls up. Okay, so now I'm to this next page. If I scroll back up, I can still see I'm on the Liberty of the Seas. I've got all the details. I can see the suite prices, and see this is where it lists the different rates. Okay, I'm going to go with and look, they're exactly the same. Sometimes they're not though. My client is interested in a balcony. I don't really know the difference between D2, D3, E2 and all that, so I can click right here for more details. I can also Google and kind of research what might be if I have like a super picky client, then I might want to do that so that I can make sure I'm getting them the biggest room or whatever, or the location that they want. Let's say they've just, like this one met their needs the most, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I really like this next page because it's going to show us exactly what rooms are available. Now, up here, what first pulled up is the price. Now they've added in the taxes and the fees. We can see any specials that come up, like this client is going to get an onboard credit if they book this cruise for $300, their deposit of $500, their final due date. If I click this plus, I can see what my commission would be for this cruise. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here, and now I can see the rooms that are available on this sailing. So say this group are traveling with some friends and they need side-by-side cabins. Well, this is where this comes in, and it's really handy because I want to find those side-by-side cabins before I quote so that I'm quoting the correct category of room. I don't want to quote the cheapest balcony and there not be any side-by-side options. So I can also from here, if there were any on a different deck, I could click the different deck. This one just had deck 9 available for that category. But then down here it shows me the upgrades. Say they want to upgrade to a junior suite. Okay, so now we have our junior suite options. Oh, here's a good example. You can see the deck 9 options, and then you can click right here to see the deck 10 options. You can see everything that's available. If you need to see what's on other decks, you can always go to just Google, like this one is the Liberty of the Seas. Just Google their deck plan, and that way you can make sure you're not putting them above or below like a nightclub or the pool deck, so they're not hearing scraping chairs all night, things like that. Okay, so let's say you've found a couple options, narrow it down for your client to like 2 or 3 options, and you've emailed that to them, and say they come back and they're ready to book. Well, you're going to follow the same procedure I just showed you, and then say they want this, you pick this room for them. You just click on it. And this is just you're going to enter in the information for your client. It does require a middle name. If they don't have one, make sure you check that. You get to pick their seating. If you need to link 2 reservations together, you're going to have to do that by calling the cruise line after you book them and have them linked together. You can also add birthdays, anniversaries, honeymoons, information like that. once you fill all that, you'll hit continue and you'll put in the payment information, and it will you'll enter all that, and then we'll email it to Christy, it will email it to you, and then you're going to forward your confirmation on to your client. After you've done all of that and you've booked it, you're really done with Cruise Pro, except for maybe using this Agent Universe, using the part of it called Stream to book any hotel stays that they might need. After you've booked it, you're going to service this client, any changes, any payments, any extra things that your client might need, or if you need to add onboard credit, you're just going to call that cruise line directly. So for this one, I would Google the Royal Caribbean travel agent phone number, and I would call them for any questions or anything like that. Oh, and you can also add insurance when you're going through that whole payment information portion. If you want to see your bookings that you have, you can pull them up right here and hit like view. Let's go to this one. It's a Royal Caribbean one that I've done for some clients. There's 3 rooms that I'm doing for them, so I did have to call Royal Caribbean and have them all linked together. Now, you can modify stuff from here. I would not recommend it. You need to just call the cruise line directly to do it. This does give you some alerts, like when their final payment is due and all of that, but honestly, I don't get into Agent Universe every day, so this isn't really useful to me. So it's best for you just to use the cruise line after you've booked it. Anyway, that's pretty much the basics of Cruise Pro. I hope that this has helped you learn how to navigate it, and if you have any specific questions, feel free to email me at Kathleen@crazyabouttthemouse.com, or you can call me at 918-625-3791. I hope you guys have a magical day.